Hello and welcome. This is Crossing Bridges, the talk show. I'm your host, Larry Montgomery Sr. This is my co-host, William. Introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm William Montgomery. Pleasure to be here.
Well, last week we talked about those questions that you should ask prior to committing to marrying someone, definitely before you marry them. Some things you might want to know and kind of, ferret out, so we'll both be on the same page. And so we've got about 25 questions, but we got through maybe 10 or so. We're going to pick up from where we left off, and then we may revisit, some of them just because we've had some additional conversation and thoughts on the subject. Are you ready?
Ready?
Okay. Do we agree on the division of labor in our house? Now, that's a good question because everybody comes to the marriage or the relationship, if you will, with preconceived thoughts on how it should operate. When you're going to get married, sometimes it's, the guy and the woman. The woman may be pregnant, may have a child already. We're talking about these days and times. In the old days, used to be, the father and then the woman, and maybe she had a child. Or maybe she was pregnant. Now it's for sure she's pregnant or she got probably 2 or 3 other kids. Because people, for whatever reason, there's no guarantee that any marriage is going to work out. And you're having these babies and they're coming along without having, they have 2 parents, if you will. But if you're not acting like a parent, then are you really a parent? You're just a sperm donor or egg donor. A parent is totally responsible. That means you give them your name because they are now a part of you, and you do what you need to do to protect that child and raise it. People walking around here like, oh, just make some babies and it's okay. And then some women are standing up there just because this guy's got a pulse, let me make a baby with him. That's foolish and foolishness. But anyway, if that's what you're into, you need to give that some thought because that's not how God planned it. But let's go on. So having that conversation, because whether you have a child in the beginning or not, you still want to know what your role is. You may just assume, well, I'm just going to go to work and that's it. And then when you come home, then what? Who's making dinner? Who's washing the clothes? Who's making the bed? Who's watching the kid? Those kinds of things. Who's running the errands to the cleaners? Who's taking the kid to daycare? Who's going to do all this? And so you just walk around and assume that that's the case, and that may not be the case for your partner. And say, look, I got a job too, or I want a job, or I want to go to school. I want to finish school, and sitting around watching this baby all day is not really what I had planned on. I figured you were going to help. So, oh, okay. And then, of course, you get to the kind of situation where you've got a career and she's got a career. Now, what do we do? The career is a little different from having a job. You could have a job and work many, many hours a day. That's not the issue here. The point is that and having a career, you may find yourself doing some things that you didn't plan on having to do. You didn't realize that you were going to have to do. Maybe attend some functions on or off the clock, in order to make your career happen like it should happen, to go places that you didn't think you would have an opportunity to go, go to trainings or whatever, all kinds of stuff, take more classes, you know. And so that takes up your time, takes you away from the family. And you take you away from the family, that means you're not holding up your end of the stick. You know, I'm retired, and my wife is about to retire. Well, you know that, but we downsized from a house, and now we're in an apartment. The laundry still got to get done. So who does the laundry? Me.
Okay.
Who folds the clothes? Me. That sure enough wasn't on my list of career opportunities, but you got to do what you got to do. Because if you don't do it, it ain't going to get done.
Mhm.
So you're going to have that long conversation about why you didn't do it, you know. So anyway, you live and you learn, you work things out. But why wait until the last minute when you could talk about it up front? Well, I don't do laundry, period. I don't cook, period. That's a woman's job. Be a lot of hungry nights, boy, if you piss her off. You could wake up dead one morning and say, I ate something that didn't really work for me.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you want to have that conversation, and then again, you look at, okay, men do what kind of chores around the house? The heavy things, the big things, the complicated things, the mechanical things. Yeah. Does that mean the woman can't do it?
No.
She might do a better job. Sometimes if she wasn't there, the job wouldn't get done because she didn't put it off to the last minute.
Mhm.
You said you were going to paint that wall. Okay. All right, let's go on to you have something you want to say? I mean, just jump in, let me know.
Well, I mean, as you were saying, like that's a good question to ask because, who's going to do this, who's going to do that, like you have people that walk in with assumptions, and those assumptions aren't necessarily going to be reality, and it may frustrate people, aggravate people, and then cause a friction in the relationship. So you do yourself a better, more justice by having those conversations because at least you can prepare mentally for it. Even if you disagree with it, at least it's not a mystery.
Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with sharing, tasks, whatever, but definitely, you want to be prepared in the event that your partner can't keep up their end of the stick, So in my situation, my wife is, not on her game. I got to carry it. I got to do what I got to do. And that would include washing the dishes and cooking. And I got to take out the garbage. So you have to do what you got to do. But walk around and think that well, I'm too good for that. That's foolishness. You need to get them straight up front. Oh well, I'll help. When I get time. No, you're going to pick up this stick when it needs to be picked up. Period. Otherwise the household doesn't function, and then there's other problems. And if you got somebody who's just adamant about it, then that might not be the one. I mean, because that's going to be a problem that's not going to go away.
Yep.
And the last thing you want to do is be sick on your bed because you can't work, you hurt your back at work or whatever, or got in a car accident or something, and you expecting your mate to pick up the slack, and they walk around here like they too good for it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no guarantee that picking up the slack is only going to be a week. It could be a month.
It could be forever.
Yeah, I mean, it could be from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you walk around carrying that kind of attitude about something, and things aren't getting done or getting done sometimes and half done or whatever. You're putting additional stress on your mate when they're trying to recuperate or whatever, or recover from whatever the situation. You lost your job. No, you lost your job, you're here working. No, I lost my job, I'm out looking for another job. So that means I'm not here. I'm out looking for a job. Who's going to wash the floor? Who's going to change the baby diaper? That would be you, or both of those things. All right,
Mhm.
let's go on to the next one.
Okay.
Um, when do you feel? Oh, here's one. When do you feel the most loved by me? Examples include when you make me lunch or when you give me a big hug. Okay, so there's an opportunity to be clear. Um, you say you love me, but you don't treat me like you love me. Well, what do you mean I don't treat you like you love me, like I love you? You know, I'm always saying hello. Oh, why don't you say you love me? That makes me feel that you love me because you said it. Okay. Oh, okay. Then that's something I can do because I want to. And I know that it reassures you that it is so. You
Mhm.
know, taking out the garbage every day doesn't mean that you love me.
Yeah.
That's how I express myself.
Mhm.
No, that doesn't really.
I mean, if I could throw something in on that, because a lot of people, everybody has their own individual way of expressing themselves and or receiving, love. You know, some people, if you say it, okay, I don't believe it because you're not showing me. You know, well, if I want somebody to show me that they love me, I kind of need to let them know what I recognize as being love.
Mhm,
So if you don't have that conversation, I'm
mhm,
sitting here guessing, trying to give you whatever it is, or I'm gonna do what I think is love.
mhm,
You might not think that's love,
mhm,
but I'm sitting here because that golden saying, the golden rule: treat people like you would have them treat you. So
mhm,
if I recognize love like this, and I'm doing that to you, but you don't recognize that as love, I'm wrong because I don't know what I need to do for
mhm,
you. I only know what I need to do for me.
mhm,
So either I got to ask that question or you got to tell me in order for this to work out.
mhm, mhm. You, um, and additionally, sometimes our own personal understanding of showing love has been shaped by what we've seen
Mhm.
over our lifetime.
Yeah.
If I come from a dysfunctional household and I just didn't tell you how dysfunctional it was, guess what? I'm pretty much dysfunctional. I'm just walking around and nobody knows it, not even me,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
And when you ask me, well, and really, I don't, unless you ask,
Yeah.
if you sit and you wait to see me show love, you say, well, you never show me love. Oh, yeah, I do. Wait, how do you do that? I cuss you out every morning. That's what my father used to do to my mother. No, my mother,
Mhm.
my father. So, is that how you show love? Oh, he know I love him. Really? Okay.
Mhm.
All righty then. Um, but not everybody operates like that. And so you need to have that conversation. And again, it's an opportunity for clarity. And it's also an opportunity for you not to have to hear them say, didn't I tell you how to show me love?
Mhm.
Not doing it. You
Yep.
know, it's, oh yeah, you did say that. I didn't write it down. Could you repeat it? Okay.
Mhm.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
Um, Here's one. Complete this sentence. I feel most comfortable sharing my feelings with my partner when he or she blank. Now, the comment here is try to remember a time you broached a hard conversation and what helped make it feel easier to open up. For example, when we're at dinner out of the house, when we're free of distractions, or when we've been getting enough sleep. And so, completing the sentence, I feel most comfortable sharing my feelings with my partner when he or she what?
I mean, that's that's a variable situation. I mean, it could be when you're out of the house, being out of the house could help you clear your mind in order to focus on what um, you really want to say or how you actually feel.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, or, I mean, everybody's different,
Mm-hmm.
and every day could be different for that same individual, so it's kind of hard to say, but I think all of those probably work.
Yeah, well, you need to ask that question. You need to, give some thought and focus on it. You may not have the answer right then, but you think about the relationship that you have and those moments that stand out in your mind that, oh, yeah, we had this conversation on such and such the other day, and, it was really good. We opened up. I felt comfortable in telling you about this, while I was eating that steak that you paid for. So yeah, I was feeling real good.
Mhm.
um, I find now with your mother, you know, um, after we've been laughing for a couple of minutes, we could talk about anything.
Yeah.
you know, they say laughter is good for the soul. It could be anything that triggers a laugh, you
Yeah.
know, but sometimes you know what tickles the person, and so you go there first, and then okay, now they're comfortable, they're smiling, laughing, or whatever you're laughing, and then say, oh, by the way, I wanted to, you know, I had a question, or I wanted to talk to you about something that's been, kind of troubling me or whatever, in a soft voice or whatever. And it's easier for them to receive and to open up and say, well, okay, well, I'm ready to hear what you have to say. Because it could be something that's been a problem. You
Hmm.
know? And this is the time that I'm ready to be honest about it. I've been lying to you. I don't really like Cocoa Puffs. You keep buying them. I keep gagging on them, but now, yeah, now I just wanted to talk to you about that.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah.
let's go on. Hold on. When do you feel unsafe sharing your feelings with me? This gives you a great deal of insight into the level of emotional safety and closeness in the relationship, which is vital for a healthy union. When do you feel unsafe sharing your feelings with me? Really, I don't really want to talk about my feelings uh, on payday because it usually goes downhill real quick.
Mm. Yep.
you I don't want to talk about my feelings when after we've had an argument. You know, even though that might be the moment to get clarity, it's like you already bit my head off. So
Mhm.
it's not much really left up here to hold a conversation with. You know?
Mhm.
But yeah, that's again, that's an opportunity to do two things. First off, to get clarity. Secondly, to clearly identify those moments when your partner is able to say, "Well, this works for me."
Mhm.
When you do it in the morning, in the evening, Saturday mornings only, whatever works for me. If you want to talk about something that's a problem,
Yeah.
unless it's something that has to be discussed immediately. You know,
Mhm.
there's somebody dead on the porch, and I don't know who did it.
Mhm. I need to know that right away.
Right, but
Mhm.
my gun is still smoking. I don't
Mhm.
know why, but okay. So that's not a good time to have the conversation.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's next? Hold on. When you reflect back on your childhood, what memories bring the most joy, which bring the most pain? Sometimes our efforts to avoid pain create distance in a relationship. For instance, conflict or misunderstanding may emerge if one person comes from a family where birthdays and holidays were a big source of joy, while the other associates those occasions with unhappy memories.
Mm.
When you reflect back on your childhood, what memories bring the most joy, which bring the most pain? Now, that's an opportunity, again, to really get to know who you're dealing with. because sometimes these situations or these events that were painful, they may be played down in their mind at this moment. They may not be really cognizant of how devastating that problem was, the event was. And so they may have been, just kind of buried it in the back and just, let it and not really dealt with it. And so when something comes up that reminds them of it or something similar to it, and they start to act kind of weird, you're like, whoa, where's that coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, when I was 3, I fell off the bike and, hit my head. Okay. But that may not be traumatic, but it could be traumatic if you hit your head and the elevator door closed on it. Yeah, that could be a problem.
Scared of bikes and elevators now.
Yeah, for real. so it's good to have that kind of conversation, and it's healthy to kind of get those things out there, so you know where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, reflecting on some of the good times, because sometimes you forget life wasn't always hard.
Mm-hmm.
There were some good days, and it may give you an opportunity to think about, well, I always wanted to take my kids to the beach. Me personally, I'm not a beach person because I had bad experience on the beach. Okay. But given the opportunity now, that's something I might enjoy. That I might enjoy that. I probably wouldn't go in the water, but going to the beach and being out there might be something that I would earnestly want to do. So until you bring it up, or give the opportunity, you may not never find that out.
I think I get that from you, Dad, because I like going to the beach, but you can't pay me to get in the sand. I like the view of it. I don't need to get in no water. I ain't trying to wrestle no sharks. I ain't trying to wrestle no jellyfish, but I do like the view.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question to bring up, because your spouse may have say, I've never been to the beach. I might like to go. So now we could talk about planning to go, and then if we're going to go, this is how we're going to do it, as opposed to you not knowing what they're expecting when they get there, and you start acting all shady, and they say, "Oh man, anytime we go someplace, you just start acting a fool." Now they mad, they want to go home, and you say, "Well, I didn't mean it that way. It's just I don't like the water. I like the view. I can sit in the car. You can go out there in the water. Okay, I could work. Whatever. All right."
But no one is half the battle. Having that conversation to open it up. People got to remember that you're trying to learn who this person is so that you can live with them forever. So the more the better chances you have for making that last forever.
And making an informed decision.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard to have to say, well, I don't think this one's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this, and this, and these things, all these things are very important to me. And you have a contrary opinion about it from your experiences or whatever. Now, are you going to make me feel comfortable that you're going to try to leave that stuff behind and, work with me? You may not be 100% there, but you're willing to work with me. Then I have to say, well, okay, well, there's a give and take, so I got to give a little bit or whatever. And we can get over that. Okay, so we got something we can work. 2 things just happened. We found out that there are some problems and that we can talk about them and that we are willing to work through them.
Yep.
Okay? But if you just dead set, I'm not jumping out no plane. I don't care what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'll have 2 parachutes. I said I ain't doing it. And I'll say it again. I ain't doing it. You see, well, that's going to be a problem because my job is parachuting. Okay. See ya. Okay, what's next? Do we appropriately respect? Oh, here it is. Do we appropriately respect any religious, spiritual, or political differences between us. Couples don't need to be in complete agreement about everything, but you will need to find a way to respect each other's differing beliefs and identify what you do need to agree on. Are you aligned on your view of the world and how you believe people should be treated? Do you agree on political issues? And how important is it to you to align your belief systems? Well, um, we ain't married, but we have talked about politics. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know, we have agreed that we don't want to talk about politics. Okay. And we can live with that. We can live with that. We can work with that one.
Right.
But if we were to, well, I guess in the news business, then yeah, you would want to have one opinion and one have the other opinion. But if this was a game show, it wouldn't work out.
Mm.
Okay. And so I guess in the same thing in marriage, just, well, me and your mother, my wife, are both Democrats. So that's easy. We may not necessarily agree on a particular candidate, but we're probably leaning more towards Democrats, whatever. But some people, I tell you, William, over these last few years, you used to be surprised how many really stupid people there are out there. I'm not talking about just your political beliefs. I'm talking about the things that you do because of that.
Yeah.
This is a country of laws. We have already had that conversation. And so, okay, we can agree to disagree and do what we got to do. But okay, so leave that.
I mean, can I say something about that? I mean, love knows no boundaries, so if you love somebody and you disagree with them, like, you shouldn't let your personal or political beliefs, if you love them enough to marry this person, or that you want to marry this person, you either need to come to grips before you go through with it that we're either not going to have this conversation, we'll just leave it to the side, you know what I'm saying? I'll do this, I'll do that. Okay. Or we all this, we on the same team or we on different teams. But this is important to know because you don't want that tearing up your marriage. I mean, there's no reason to go through all the, building and trying to do this just because, and then tear it all down because you don't agree on this thing that is probably bigger than you. But, I mean, it's important, but it's not important if it's going to tear your life up that you built with this person that you love,
Right.
or sacrifice your love because of,
Right. You got to have some boundaries there, and whether you have a boundary or not, you have to appreciate the fact that the other person may have a boundary. And if okay, we can live together and we don't talk about politics. Religion is another thing, really, and that's something that it's a belief system. I can join a political party and leave a political party. That happens, but my religion, am I going to leave it because you don't believe the way I believe? Then we should not get married.
Mm-hmm.
We could be friends like heck, friends with benefits if necessary. But that part is going to be a problem not only for the couple, but for the children. Because what happens when the first child comes along? How are we going to raise them? I believe this way. I'm a Christian and you're a Jew. I'm a Christian and a Protestant. That may not be a big problem, but a Christian and a Jew, atheist and anybody else, that's going to be a problem. Islamic and anybody else might be a problem. I don't know. I don't know much about that religion. But then when the kids are involved, there's got to be a decision. And you sit there and you say, oh, well, Johnny will be able to decide what religion he wants when he grows up. Yeah, but you got to grow up first. And how long is it going to take them? What, 16, 18 years to get to the part where you say he's grown
Hmm.
enough to make that decision? You say that's really unfair, and it's really a recipe for a problem. Uh,
Mhm.
People leave home because they believe a certain way, and you don't believe that way. You can't live in my house if you believe that way.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah, it could be a real problem. You
Yeah.
know, so I want to have
Um,
that conversation early. Yeah.
I mean, in a relationship, you have some people that change their religions. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't recommend asking somebody to change their religion for you.
Mhm.
Because if you do that, that's if they say, "Hey, I've been going and learning the same religion that you are, and I decided that I'm gonna change." It's a personal decision.
Mhm.
That's on them. But if
Mhm.
you ask somebody that you care about to change their religion for you, that's another recipe for disaster. I can't marry you unless you're this.
Mhm. Right. And so now you have to evaluate. The other person has to say, what is important to me?
Mhm.
Is it the way you make me feel? Is that so important to me that in a crunch, if your religious beliefs, let's say you're Jehovah Witness, well, we don't believe in transferring blood.
Mhm.
So now what? I need a transfusion, and you talking about what?
Mhm.
Oh, well, God will fix it. Yeah, he did. He made blood available for transfusions. Now what?
Mhm.
Oh, then you had that conversation. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be disparaging of whatever your religion is. That's up to you. I ain't
Mhm.
buying into it. You ain't buying into mine if you don't have to, if you don't want to.
Mhm.
But if you're talking about getting married and you haven't had that conversation, you might want to do that. So it's clear. What are we going to do personally? And if we have, and when we have children, what are we going to do? You know, and then see, now this is the other part that comes around and blindsides you. Well, you said you was a Christian, but you out there cussing and drinking and carrying on like a fool.
Mhm.
What kind of example are you for our child who we're bringing up as a Christian? There's a problem.
Mhm.
There's no more harmony in the household because I stood up there and said, I'm a Christian and I'm all this and all that. And you need to do this. And you need to live like this or whatever. And then turn around. I'm talking out the opposite side of my mouth, out the back of my head, because I don't do half the stuff I said I believe in, so we got to have that conversation up front. Okay, let's see what's next. Oh, here's a tough one. Whose career would take precedence if it became necessary? One of you may get a job offer requiring a cross-country move, or the loss of a child care, or no, or the loss of childcare may require one parent to step away from work, as many families have experienced in the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mhm.
Would you support your partner walking away from a job to follow their dreams? Now, that's a little different from what this, and I'm going to come back to that. So I'm going to underline that. Hold on one second here.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you support your partner walking away from a job to follow their dreams, even if it means sacrificing family income? Gaining a solid understanding of your partner's beliefs about both of your careers helps prevent you from being blindsided in the future if they see their career growth taking priority over yours. Um, okay, yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people have experienced that.
careers, you know, they're important to the individual. You could be dead set. I want to be a medical doctor, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to learn this, whatever. And you just keep flunking out. Yeah. That's your belief. You want to do this. You want this to be your career, but you're lousy at it.
Mhm.
And so your spouse is going to look at you like, well, when is the light bulb going to come on? But you're of the belief that, look, if you work at it hard enough, it'll come to pass.
Mhm.
That may happen. When is the problem? If it
Mhm.
happen tomorrow, that's a problem.
Mhm.
Then you might be just happy, working on on the back of a garbage truck, sanitation. Good job, they pay well, got great benefits, you know, doctor's hours, okay. Every day you come home, you smell like fish.
Mm.
Well, I don't think I want. Every time you come in the door, I gag.
Mm.
The check is nice, but every time you come in, you know,
Mhm.
in that situation, it could change overnight because that person could. I'm just doing this for the moment because I'm going to school at night to become a lawyer,
Mhm.
or artist, whatever, and I won't have to wear these clothes and do that type of a thing. But then again, I'm working a civil service job. I'm making good money, and I want to do art. And if I get my opportunity to go to school and do art, I won't be making this money anymore.
Mhm.
I have to step away from my job because my heart and mind is in art. And you hooked up with me, so you said you're gonna be there for me. Well, I didn't know it was going to take 30 years. So I'm out.
Mhm.
And you'll be dead wrong because you
Mhm.
signed up for it and you said you would and you didn't. Because
Mhm.
there are good days and there are bad days. There are ups, there's downs, you know. And if you true to your word, I got to be here in the up, I have to be here in the down, you know, because if that shoe was on the other foot, how would I feel if they did that to me?
Mm.
You know. And so when you have that conversation, you get to this point, you get these questions and these things, and some people say, look, yeah, right now it's good because the money's rolling like it should. I'm free to do whatever I want whenever I want it, and I like you. But if you were in a car accident and lost your arms, that would be a problem. Then maybe you're not the one I need to marry.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm going to be in a car accident, and I don't know if I'm going to lose my arms. But I know you told me that you wouldn't be there
Mm.
because I couldn't handle it. It's too stressful. And I feel how about that now that I have
Mhm.
no arms. Anyway, okay, let's see what's next. Okay, this is the last one in there. Are you committed to counseling if and when we need it? The number of women uh, who say that their partner doesn't believe in counseling or refuses to tell their problems to a stranger is too high. While you're in that pre engagement glow, agree on a plan for what to do if things get rocky down the road. Counseling. There's nothing wrong with going to counseling. It's probably you want to have support when you go, so it's good for both of you. Well, you're crazy and I'm not. Okay. I still need somebody to go with me.
Well, well, can I throw something in there? Because I mean, we are talking about marriage advice, kind of, sort of. Um, I think that it would probably be a good thing if you are wanting to marry somebody to probably go to marriage counseling, premarital counseling. So that way maybe some of these things get addressed in that premarital counseling, to avoid future visits to a marriage counselor. I mean, you may have to go in the future, who knows, but at least you did what you could to mitigate that from being a problem. Because now, okay, well, we went to premarital counseling, went well. Now, if we need counseling in the future, we know who we can go to and get, the stuff that we need.
Mhm. Now, I'm going to say this, and somebody's going to probably have a problem with it, but it's the truth. Everybody that has a shingle on their door that says counselor ain't a counselor.
Mm.
And so you need to make sure that the person that you're dealing with is licensed uh, and experienced and not a friend, okay,
Yeah.
not an acquaintance, okay, somebody who you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they know you, they got an opinion about you.
Mm-hmm.
And more than likely, it's going to come out in a good way or a bad way in that counseling session. And last point on that, if you know them, they know you. And if you know them, you can't gloss over what you know about them. I've seen people talk about, well, I'm a counselor, I counsel people, whatever, and their life is just as raggedy as you know what. But because they got the shingle on the door, they think that they're entitled to counsel you. I've seen you.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you do. You, if if my situation is that bad that I think you could help me, and I know how raggedy you are, I really need it. I need somebody who actually knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just as stupid as you are. To me, you can help me. You might want to. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but it's like, listen, I was in a knife fight and I got cut. I don't need some fool come here and put a Band-Aid on it. I need some sutures. That would be somebody who actually knows what they're doing. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not personal. It's, it makes real sense. And
Yeah,
those people who actually know you, and I'm talking about them preachers, your pastor, say, oh yeah, well, I do counseling and everything, just leave something in the pot. I do that for you. No, you can't do it for me. You can't. I still love you, but you can't do it for me because I know you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you. And matter of fact, you know me. So whatever I went to the counselor for and I wanted to hide, I can't hide it from you.
Mm-hmm.
So let me find somebody who don't know me, let them find out where my problems are and put them on the table. So it's like going to Maury and taking a lie detector test. Oh, the test is not right. It's wrong. So you came here to take a lie detector test, and now you're going to say it's wrong. Really? Because it found out something you didn't want people to know. Anyway. Okay, so we've gone through all the questions. Was there anyone you want to go back over? We still got about 5 minutes or so.
I mean, I can't think of any one particular, but they all seem pretty good, straightforward, and I mean, like I said, I would just say like those questions. I don't know if you want to put a link up for them or if people want to contact you for the list.
Google them.
Mm-hmm.
It came from Oprah's show, so yeah. Google Oprah, give me the list of questions that you should ask before premarital questions or whatever.
Yeah. But be serious about it. I mean, when you're talking about a huge part of your life that you're about to, a huge path in your life that you're about to embark on, and you want to be successful, you got to take it serious. Some people are like, well, love conquers all. Yeah, but you also got to work at love. So you have to love that person enough to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to do the work, then you really don't love that person enough. And you got to love yourself. You want yourself to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to love yourself. You need to love the person, and you need to do the work because that's what love requires.
Mm-hmm.
I digress.
But sometimes the work is too hard.
Mm-hmm.
You just, I don't have the skill set. I don't have the patience. I don't have the understanding, the capability to sit through working on my issues that have now been brought out and your issues, okay, that I just found out about,
Mhm.
and then talk about we're going to be together for life. Listen, I'm in lust with you right now. That's going to fade. Trust me. Lust fades. Love stays. And
Mhm.
love stays whether you're having sex or not. Think about that one. You got to think about that one. So, wait a minute now. I signed up for that. Yeah, you did. That's what you're signing up for. When it's all hunky dory and everybody's smooch, and now they got no lips, no kissing. Eh,
Mhm.
You still here? You're supposed to still be here. You know,
Mhm.
good times and the bad times. So you
Yeah.
want to think about that. And the final point, marriage might be a real challenge for you. Okay, fine. But give some thought to the fact that making babies is a greater challenge
Mhm.
because you do things that the baby sees that you didn't realize that they saw, you know, and you don't know how bad you may be hurting that child. But it's all about you, you know, and what you want. I want to be the daddy. I want to be daddy. I want to be the husband. I want to be the husband. And all the responsibilities and the heartaches and the love that goes along with it, you're not ready to deal with. So don't make any babies until you find the one that you can marry. You know, really. I mean, that's the honest truth. Then you'll be happy and everybody be happy. But if it's all about you, you're gonna keep wrecking that ship every chance you come off the dock. Okay, that's it for this week. What are we gonna talk about next week?
Well, I got to do a little admin real quick.
Oh,
For our viewers, if you like, some of the topics that we discuss, if you want to recommend something, please send something in our comment section, and we'll try to apply that to the show in the future.
okay. So we're gonna talk about next week. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many things out there that we probably could. I mean, we'll figure something good out.
Okay.
Keep you guessing.
Next week and see what's up.
Hmm.
All right. Good night. Thank you, and God bless.
God bless.